Hey everybody, it's your girl Cece. I am having a bad everything day and I don't want people to look at my face, so I'm just gonna screen record me drawing shit. We good? We good. Thank you so much. Also, I didn't forget I was doing this, I just kind of, This week is a little frustrating because Ianto's intro video should have at least kind of set a general idea for the tone of this week, but pretty much everybody floated around that idea instead of being part of it directly. I think everybody's like almost completely dialed in there, but it's just a few steps off of really nailing their concept and the theme. I think pretty much universally everybody could have pushed their shit more. They could have pushed more towards the emotion and towards their general concept, but it was just it was almost there, just not. I'm not saying the videos this week are all like trash garbage or any bullshit like that, but I was expecting a lot more emotion, or at least a lot of like funny haha displays of emotion, like stuff played up, or just some kind of emotion that's being regularly communicated. I just hit my desk and I don't want to take that again. So you're just going to hear that fucking... What are you going to fucking do about it? This isn't me saying that everyone needed to be doing like a serious thing or whatever, but this week should have been prime time for the clowns to go, but doctor, I am Pagliacci, or really just dial in on emotions or feelings that they're experiencing. Because we're all experiencing a lot of emotions. We're fucking, what, month 7 into this shit? Fucking... God damn. The part that it comes down to me is, for a couple of people, I had vague ideas what kind of emotion they were trying to convey, but that is not great when this is a week specifically about having emotions. Anyways, now that I've probably heard everybody else's emotions, let's go into individual people. Beep. Beep. I think this is the most emotive and serious I've seen Dr. Beep Beep MD. It's a very simple concept, which isn't inherently bad, but I think the one issue that I have with the sync is that it doesn't really go anywhere. It's very gripping and dramatic. Things are being done. You are walking with purpose, and that's great. But aside from that, not a lot else is happening outside of it. I think the weakest bit of it for me was the your own world bit, because it just felt like with the sash flips and all that stuff, you're trying to fill the time with something instead of knowing what you're doing, which I do a lot when performing, but it's a bad habit and it weakens the end result, so I'm trying to do it less, and you should too. But that said, I liked your video this week. It was a lot of feeling, and that was great. All that horseshit aside, that is just me nitpicking. I loved your video this week. It was... Seeing an emotive beep is rare, with a genuine kind of emotive beep, I should say. But it's so wonderful to actually see it. Felix Orion. Okay, so before I start actually doing any actual critique or anything like that, it's bothering me so much that I know what the other song in this is other than September. I cannot think of the name of it or any lyrics of it. It is infuriating me and I hate it. I kind of picked up on the vibe of this immediately because I'd done like a billion shitty catering jobs at weddings, but I feel like it doesn't really communicate and dial in on an emotion as well as it could. I'd say out of everybody, it was the strongest base concept with the set and design and everything like that. And there's a general vibe of celebration and joy, but it's very broad, and I do not think that works for a week where the whole concept is selling specific emotions. It is a very fun and joyful sync, though, which I do appreciate. It's also a very simple setup, like it's just a backdrop, things, a tinsel, a just married sign, and then like shit that you probably just already have in your house. But it really communicates and informs a lot about the setting. It sets up the sort of whole thing you've got going on. It's very communicative while being like nothing at the same time, which I think is very good. Even though that sounds bad, actually, now that I say it. That was nothing and you're nothing. Sorry, no. I liked it. It just didn't communicate too much about a specific feeling. Yuli. I think out of everybody you have the most defined look this week, but I think you missed the mark the most on dialing into a specific emotion. It's not that I don't get the general concept of, like, Gorgon mourning a soldier that was her lover or something like that, but it feels like for a lot of it, the only emotion that you're dialed into is, I'm a bad bitch, watch me pose, which is an emotion the same way that popular is an emotion. This is kind of also a personal taste thing, but I think songs with long dance breaks are just generally lip sync for your life poison, unless you're one of those, like, wiry little coked up bitches who do backflips and shit. Otherwise, it's hard to sell that. It's hard to keep the energy of that going through and going strong. I just think it's a strange choice if you're not specifically a dancer, because then what do you do in the dance break? Other than, I don't know, try your best to fill it with something that is not dancing. It makes your sync harder, I believe. But that's my personal opinion. I think there's good bones to this. I think it's a good sort of setup about loss and grief that I think you're going for here, but it's not dialed in enough to read on camera, and it doesn't really hold up, especially when I can at least concretely say, okay, these are the kinds of emotions that everybody else is going for, where I have more of a difficult time with yours. Taffeta, I'm kind of confused by your video. Like, yeah, the bass part of it is obvious, like, oh, I'm so happy, while you've got, like, a Sound Clown thing going on, but it's not really pushed far enough in any direction. It doesn't really dial in on being happy, it doesn't really dial in on a manic sense of energy, it doesn't dial in on, like, I'm putting up a false front or anything like that. It's just kind of like, you're doing the song a little bit. I also don't really understand the look with it, because with the background, it kind of looks like you're doing Doodle Bob and a Moo. Your overlay also got bjorked, which I can't really tell if that's YouTube's fault or not, but it does seem kind of late in the competition to still be having overlay issues. I feel by this point in the competition, you should be uploading your videos and watching over said videos to make sure that everything's all lined up and synced up before putting them out, especially with now that there's a 1 in 4 chance that you're getting eliminated this week. Like, this is probably the time to pay the most attention out of all that. I really don't have a lot else to say, because not a lot happened and it's a short song. It could be fine just doing a short song, but there's not much done with it afterwards. Even the negative emotions that you're trying to work in don't really come off that well. Even the parts where it's like going to a red background, it's like all... Sorry, my throat's dead. I can't do that. But even when it went to those screams and those sort of parts of the video, nothing really happened. You pulled out a fan, picked up a wrench. I don't know. Now, I'm sure most of the other guest judges just ranked their top votes or whatever. I don't know, you couldn't pay me enough to go back and watch the other judging videos. But in my opinion, they're all pussy-ass bitches, and there's only 4 of you anyway, so if I did a top 3, that'd just be telling the 4th where their position is anyway. So my votes, in order of highest to lowest this week, are Beep Beep, Felix Orion, Taffeta, and Yuli. And if you have problems with any of this, feel free to tell me to kill myself on Discord, and I will ignore it because that's my prerogative by Britney Spears. Thank you so much.
That's my prerogative. That's my